It's hard to deny the impact that Sinu Han has had not only on J. Kim, but essentially everyone in Big Deal. Originally coming off as nothing more than a typical influential gangster, Sinu Han would evolve to become a big brother to Jake, who was essentially Lookism's second protagonist. Jake had despised gangsters and everything about them. However, it was because of Sinu that he was able to look at them in a new light, even his father Gabrion Kim, who he despised more than anyone. While Sinu Han is undeniably an important character to the story and his characters, it's also hard to deny how much of a fraud he is. Seeing people have Sinu as stronger than characters such as Ui Johan is just straight up ridiculous to me. So with that being said, let's dive into the fraudulent behavior of Sinu Han. Upon his introduction to the story, we could see that he was clearly meant to be a powerhouse for the arc that he was in. Gangseo was an area riddled with fighting from middle schools to gangsters. In the area, everyone had been fighting for something, and Sinu was already well known in this area. He was notorious within the Black Bear gang, and we could see students bowing upon seeing him arrive at the high school. Even if later he'd act like he was scared of the Black Bear gang, he clearly just cared about the safety of the kids. Further down the line in this arc, he'd have a brawl with Gu, where Gun would remark that not even he could match Sinu's strength. Given the timing of this arc happening around the Jian Liang arc, this may or may not mean that Sinu is as strong as the Kojimas, as Gun was also getting pressed by him as well. All in all, the Kojimas just aren't shit though. Following this arc, we wouldn't see the promised boy for some time as he sold himself to the workers. We find out that during that time, he wasn't idle at all, fighting tooth and nail frequently in the workers' circus. During this time, he'd reach mastery of his speed, obtaining the invisible attacks. We see Sinu take his somewhat biggest W against Ryuhei during the second affiliate. And during this fight, Sinu questions if he's ever fought anyone as strong as Ryuhei, just further backing up that Gun and the Kojimas back then really were not all that. He gets pressed so hard that he almost loses until he overcomes Ryuhei and beats him down. I say biggest W, but really this isn't even a W at all. We know Ryuhei was able to get back up had Mitsuki not intervened, not to mention Ryuhei was also nerfed as he couldn't damage Sinu to the point of killing him or even fatally wounding him. So right now Sinu just has no fucking W's unless you want to count him beating up J. Kim and like Jerry Kwan. Now we move on to Sinu's last appearance in the Big Deal hunting. Following that, he'd fight Eli Zhang and Warren Che, who are both able to react to their attacks. Eli's able to actually block a barrage of invisible strikes from Sinu. And sure, like Sinu's winning the fight I guess, but both Eli and Warren were significantly weaker than their first affiliate counterparts. This is where the reality of Sinu's fraudulent behavior sets in, as Eli, who was able to react to Sinu's invisible attacks soundly, later gets completely blitzed by Vasco, and states that he's never experienced anything like his speed. So it sounds like Sinu would get his salad tossed by a 1A Vasco, who isn't even the strongest in Allied. Even ignoring the Eugene statements, Sinu just doesn't compare. But before we go over those, I want to address Sinu's invisible attacks. I think that since it's a mastery, it's very much possible for you to simply be slower than someone else, even if you do have the invisible attacks. Sinu isn't as fast as James despite them having the same mastery. Furthermore, we know Gangsters has speed mastery, yet he was able to basically get outsped by Jaegyeon Na, who wasn't using any speed mastery in the instance of them both trying to capture James Lee. But let's address the Eugene statements now, even though we really don't have to. Eli is stated to be the king of the second generation, and Sinu is considered a second gen member, ignoring the generation 1.5 stuff, as it seems to just be arbitrary and inconsistent with the narrative. The reason this statement is important is because Eugene has a thorough understanding of Sinu and Eli's strength, and him making this statement implies that Eli is superior to Sinu. Furthermore, this is given credence due to another statement that Eli and Warren were so strong that the workers no longer needed Sinu. Another negative of Sinu's scaling is the lack of conviction that he's shown. Within Lookism, conviction can change the outcome of a fight, and characters like Tae-Soo and Hudson thrive off of this conviction, having used it to get as strong as they currently are. Why do I say he lacks this conviction? In every situation where he should have gotten it, he didn't. He didn't get it when he got steamrolled by Gu, or when Jake was literally paralyzed by Xiao Lung. Most second gen fighters have already shown getting conviction amps, some more consistently than others.